Rockville, Connecticut is no longer incorporated and is a place not in control of its own destiny. The once thriving Loom City consolidated with the mother town in 1965 to create a single municipal entity. With the growth of population in rural Vernon, it appeared that Rockville's status had been downgraded to just another neighborhood. Rockville is not, however, just another neighborhood. Rockville remains a de facto city and has all the problems that high population density, poverty, and neglect can impose upon a city. I speak not to suggest that Rockville divorce herself from the town of Vernon, but rather to suggest that Rockville should amend that relationship and take a more active role in its own well-being. The creation of a borough of Rockville, as I will explain, would allow the town and its constituent city to maintain the municipal cooperation and entanglement that has developed over the past 50 years. At the same time, incorporation as a borough would allow Rockville to take steps towards vitality above and beyond those that the town might take on its own. A borough is an incorporated area subordinate to a town. Should Rockville become a borough, it would remain every bit as much a part of the town of Vernon as it is today. The arrangement would create two governments in Vernon, the existing government of the town of Vernon, as well as a new government, the Borough of Rockville. Through such an arrangement, Rockville would be able to enjoy all the services the town of Vernon provides, and Rockville residents would pay about a 36 mil tax rate like other Vernon residents. The Borough of Rockville would then be empowered to collect an additional tax, perhaps 1 to 5 mils depending on voter preference, which would be at the discretion of the Borough of Rockville rather than the town of Vernon. The town of Vernon, in its plan of conservation and development, has developed a plethora of good ideas for redeveloping Rockville. The plan suggests maintaining the currently shuttered police substation in Rockville. The plan suggests redeveloping obsolete Courthouse Plaza. Few of these enhancements appear able to proceed on the current town budget. The town's efforts to maintain Rockville have been admirable, but one cannot expect the government of a suburban town to be the best one for a city. And make no mistake, Rockville is a city and shares many more characteristics with other cities than with Vernon. One of the major distinguishing factors between cities and suburbs is population density. Vernon has a population density of only about 1,600 people per square mile. Vernon's ranked 33rd among Connecticut municipalities in terms of population density, but Rockville has a population density of 4,200 people per square mile. If Rockville were to incorporate as a borough, it would be the 7th most densely populated municipality in the state, following New London and followed by Waterbury. Rockville has a greater population density than the cities of Waterbury, Norwalk, or Stamford, and yet is governed by a suburban government. This is an issue because cities often have a higher burden than suburban towns. Mill rates in Connecticut cities are generally higher than in towns because of the higher costs of serving a dense urban population. Additionally, cities are generally expected to provide a higher level of services than towns. Rockville's sister cities have mill rates that are 5 to 22 mills higher than that in Vernon. Rockville, not Vernon, is undertaxed compared to similar cities, and this shows in services and improvements that are conspicuously absent from Rockville, like a local police station. Incorporation would allow the Borough of Rockville to remain a part of Vernon and continue to receive all of the services that the town provides to all of its residents. Typically, a borough will raise revenues through a 1 to 5 mil tax. This borough budget can then be used for whatever services or improvements the municipality sees fit. The Borough of Jewett City, for example, collects a tax of 3.9 mils in order to fund 2 resident state troopers and 70 fire hydrants. The Borough of Rockville might use its budget to open the police substation or to create a fund for the renewal of Courthouse Plaza. Incorporation as a borough would leave all town of Vernon services intact within Rockville. The tax would only be raised for services the town is already unable or unwilling to provide. There are 2 possible courses. 1. The town of Vernon could request the creation of a borough of Rockville by passing a resolution with 2/3 support of the town council. Or 2, the request could be made through a petition signed by not less than 10% of the electors of Vernon. The form that this petition resolution should take is clearly delineated in Chapter 99 of the Connecticut State Statutes. Following the state legislature's receipt of our resolution or petition, the next step would be for the town of Vernon to create a commission of between 5 and 15 electors. This commission is tasked with creating a report and charter for the Borough of Rockville to be submitted to the state legislature for approval or rejection. Should the state choose to reject Rockville's petition for a borough charter, we would finally have the option of petition for a referendum on the issue, and the matter would be decided by the electorate of Rockville. The commission's report, with community input, would also be responsible for creating the form of our new government. The state requires that the borough be set up as either A, a town meeting, B, a representative town meeting, C, a board of burgesses, or D, a combination of A, B, and C. The state also requires boroughs to have a chief executive known as a warden. Although the nomenclature is obscure, the structure should be familiar to most nutmeggers. A warden is the equivalent of a mayor, and a board of burgesses is no different from a board of selectmen. The creation of a borough of Rockville is a radical idea that some of you may see as levying a tax upon the poorest of Vernon's citizens. That is one view. I instead think of the idea in the way I think of a parent and a teenager. Parents gradually allow a teenager to make and spend their own money, but don't give their teenager complete control over the family finances. Vernon is the parent, and allowing a borough of Rockville is allowing your teenager their summer job. The point is, Rockville deserves some say in its own destiny. It is more than a neighborhood and less than a city. Rockville is the perfect borough candidate. I do hope you'll consider the ideas I've presented here. Thank you for your time.